First, we go to Sheffield. Angela Smith, a member of Parliament from the Lib Dems. First of all, have you had to rejig your schedule? It seems to be in London on Wednesday.
Yes, of course I have. I'll be travelling down to London tomorrow morning, but quite happy to do so, more than happy to do so, because of course we never did believe that Parliament there should have been an attempt to prorogue Parliament. Look, there's a crisis here in the UK, and the crisis is that we have a Prime Minister who seems hell-bent on taking the country out of the European Union without a deal. And we know that the majority of the British people are opposed to that. Parliament is opposed to that, and our job is to be there in Westminster, scrutinising the government and ensuring that Boris Johnson does not take us out, as I say, without a deal.
All right, so explain it for our viewers, please. What's going to happen when you convene on Wednesday?
Well, I think clearly there'll be the usual business of the House won't be in place, but there will be opportunities for urgent debates, urgent questions, urgent statements. So ministers can be required to come to the House to answer those questions and to respond to the debates. Equally, it's possible for us to continue scrutinising Boris Johnson as he progresses his talks with the European Union. And if it looks at any point as though it is seriously going to attempt to take the UK out of the European Union without a deal, then Parliament will act. And there is a clear majority now in Westminster opposed to a no-deal Brexit.
A clear majority opposed to...
Many parliamentarians, including all the Liberal Democrats, are opposed to Brexit.
All right, a clear majority, you say, opposed to a no-deal Brexit. So what happens? Should there be a vote of no confidence in Boris Johnson?
Clear. Well, the first priority is to make sure that no deal doesn't happen, that we do not crash out of the European Union at the end of October. That is our top priority. It's also the view of the LibDem, the Liberal Democrats, that there ought to be a referendum on our membership of the European Union to a final say, for want of a better way of putting it, to make sure that it's the people who do have the final choice on whether we leave or not. And of course, Liberal Democrats are opposed to leaving the European Union. We don't want Brexit. We want to stop Brexit.
So if I, Angela Smith, if I understand you,
there is a majority of the British people who are opposed.
Angela Smith, if I understand you correctly, you're not for staging a vote of no confidence yet because you first want to make sure that it doesn't make the clock run out on the UK's chance of getting a deal.
Well, I mean, I look, we remain open-minded, of course, as to all options, but I just repeat my point. Yes, we are opposed to a no-deal Brexit, and that is the top priority for the UK Parliament. We must not crash out of the European Union without a deal. It will be immensely damaging to the UK economy, but also damaging to our European Union friends and neighbours, and it just won't benefit anybody to have a catastrophic no-deal Brexit.
The Prime Minister has said that he will respect the decision by the Supreme Court. Do you think he'd try to suspend Parliament yet again?
Yes. Well, that remains to be seen. I think it would be very foolish of Boris Johnson to do that. Look, this is a Prime Minister who has misled the Queen. She is our head of state. He has tried to shut down the voice of Parliament, and he has trashed British democracy. This man isn't fit to run the country, if I can be honest about it. But I do hope now that he will listen to the voices of the judgments of the Supreme Court. And the rule of law is fundamental to British democracy, and he must abide by the rule of law, by the decision of the Supreme Court, which has completely endorsed the view of Parliament that proroguing was illegal on the grounds that Boris Johnson tried to use. So I was one of the signatories to the case, by the way, in the Supreme Court. I was one of the signatories. And as I say, Boris Johnson now has to abide by the decision of the Supreme Court, and he has to start acting like a prime minister, and he has to do the right thing.
This Supreme Court decision perhaps helping to coalesce the ranks at what had been up to now a divided Labour Party conference that's taking place right now in Brighton. We saw the leader of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, move forward by a day his speech. You're a former member of the Labour Party. You quit over the issue of the leadership stance on Brexit. What are your thoughts now from the outside looking in when you hear Jeremy Corbyn call for the Prime Minister's resignation?
Well, he's doing so on the basis that the man is no longer fit to run the country. But I'd also say that I think Jeremy Corbyn is unfit to run the country. That's one of the reasons why I left the Labour Party. And equally, Jeremy Corbyn's view on how to move forward on Brexit, which is to have a general election and then elect a Labour government, which would then decide what Brexit looks like, and then would have a referendum in which the Labour government would have no view on the deal it's putting to the people. This is complete nonsense. The Liberal Democrats are quite clear that we believe any form of Brexit is damaging to the country and to our European Union friends and neighbours, and we believe that Brexit needs to be stopped. But we also believe that the decision on that does need to go to the people. And I think clarity is what is needed now in the UK. And the British people are now demanding clarity. They're fed up with politicians who are deliberately ambiguous about the biggest issue facing the UK since the Second World War.
All right, let's offer some clarity then on what happens next. So if Boris Johnson is forced out, would you agree to a sort of a national unity government led by Jeremy Corbyn to take the country to elections?
I think the question of how to move forward if Boris Johnson resigns is an open one. I'm not instinctively opposed to an emergency government, a government of national unity, but not one led by Jeremy Corbyn, because as I said previously, I don't think the man is fit to run the country. Now, we do have some very senior political figures here in the UK. We have Ken Clarke, we have Harriet Harman. There are other candidates as well who would all be well equipped to take on the role of running the country and effectively solving the Brexit crisis by putting it back to the people in a referendum. But it's not that individual, the individual suited to take on that role is not Jeremy Corbyn, I'm afraid.
Angela Smith, LibDem member of the UK Parliament, thank you for speaking with us from Sheffield, and good luck with your return to London this Wednesday.